know the why human trafficking work is needed: to fight for the freedom of modern day slaves. But love, passion, commitment isn't all you need to be an effective and successful anti-trafficking advocate. Learn the how. I'm Dr. Celia Williamson, Director of the Human Trafficking and Social Justice Institute at the University of Toledo. Welcome to the Emancipation Nation podcast, where I'll provide you with the latest and best methods, policy, and practice discussed by experienced experts in the field so that you can cut through the noise, save time, and be about the work of saving lives. Welcome to the Emancipation Nation, episode 157. And today we have Pallavi Ghosh, and she runs the Impact and Dialogue Foundation in India. She's been at work in the anti-trafficking field for over 10 years. So welcome, Pallavi.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you can join us. And can you tell us what the Impact and Dialogue Foundation is and how you got started in the anti-trafficking field?
So, Impact and Dialogue Foundation was started with a lot of objectives. The primary one was, as I have been an anti-trafficking activist for the last 10 years, I realized that one of the main reasons for so much of trafficking to occur is because of poverty. So, not getting access to financial independence is one of the main reasons for so much of trafficking. So that's how we decided to create Impact. Impact means going to the grassroots, interacting with people out there, trying to come up with innovative ideas and measures so that they can generate their own income, thus making them stay in their own communities and not taking them far away by luring them for a job or for marriage or for a better future. So that was the objective.
That makes so much sense. So if you empower people and give them impactful employment, impactful opportunities, and impactful vision, they don't place themselves at risk. They're no longer as vulnerable. And so what does Impact and Dialogue Foundation do?
The primary thing is training and advocacy. So we train different people in the communities, like tea garden people. You can say people, those who are like those who face domestic violence, and that's the reason they get lured to trafficking. So there are different categories of people: tribal people, people those who come under the below poverty line category. Then we train a lot of stakeholders also, like law enforcement, uh, social welfare officers, child welfare officers. We have different categories of training for then school teachers, educational institutions, like people, those who make a system, people, those who are part of the system.
Mm-hmm. And so the stakeholders that you train, why is it important that you train those various professionals?
Because, first of all, none of them know what is trafficking. In India, everybody thinks that trafficking is more of a traffic signal. You know, the moment you say that it's trafficking, like for example, when I used to take my survivors to the doctor for getting their medical examination done from the brothels, the doctors used to tell me, oh, she has come from a traffic signal. Then it used to take me so long to explain to her about uh, the whole concept of trafficking, what are red light areas, how this whole uh, forced marriage, child marriage, polyandry, why does it happen? Then the difference between male and female sex ratio due to which a lot of forced marriage happens. Then you see poverty. It's kind of, everything is interdisciplinary. And uh, one of the main reason to train the law enforcement is because they're the first person who comes in contact with the survivor.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And people, those who are social welfare officers. So their responsibility is to make sure that there is equality in the society. They are there to uplift the society. So if they don't have a knowledge, for example, people just get recruited by clearing exams. But when you talk about specific knowledge about a particular subject or about a particular law, they have no idea. It is just that clearing an exam and you become an officer. But then when you become an officer, there are certain roles and responsibilities that you need to cater to. They don't have the requisite skills and competence to, to implement or execute that. So that's the reason we train them.
Okay. And what's the perspective of these professionals when they're unaware? Do they stigmatize the victims? Do they think they choose this in their lives, or what's their initial perspective?
They stigmatize. Like, for example, they look at them with, like, they consider them, like, for example, I remember my first training with police officers, especially lower level officers, constables. They used to tell me, "Arey, ma'am, they do it by choice." Like,
Mm,
and then it used to take me time to explain to them, no, it's not by choice. Poverty. So I used to give them examples. Like, if you are given a choice between education and food, you would obviously choose food, because unless and until you survive, you
mhm.
can't be educated. So, like, they have this orthodox mentality. They think people do sex work by choice. Almost everyone do sex work by choice, and they look at them with that kind of a that derogatory look. I still remember my experiences of going to police stations where there were no separate rooms for survivors of trafficking. The police officers used to look at the girls from head to toe. It used to be so, like, it used to be really so, not just annoying but heartbreaking. The constables pulling the girls out, treating them like criminals. So the sensitivity is not there. When they don't know, they are not at all sensitive. They are very rude. They don't talk. They don't have empathy. They don't have this feeling of you know sense of sisterhood, that okay, fine, brotherhood, that okay, maybe this person is in a crisis. No, there is this always discrimination. Like, uh, they are some low low level creature. So that's lot of things has changed. People have become sensitive. People have started talking about it out in the open. Like, really a welcoming change has come.
Yeah, well, that seems to be the perspective of uneducated people just around the world.
The International Human Trafficking and Social Justice Conference is the largest and oldest academic conference on human trafficking in the world. Join us for our 19th annual conference, hosted virtually this year on September 21st through the 23rd. You will have the opportunity to learn from and collaborate with thousands of advocates, researchers, providers, and survivors from all over the world. You don't want to miss it. Find out more and register today on our website, traffickingconference.com.
Where does the Impact and Dialogue Foundation do its work in India? Where exactly are you?
We were working all across the country doing rescue work, but then rescue work in terms of, we were doing prevention, mostly rescue from red light areas, rescue from villages, all kinds of organ trafficking, uh, forced marriage, child marriage, polyandry, sex trafficking. But then we realized that just rescuing won't help. We have to focus on prevention. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how we started working in prevention. And then we saw that what is the point of working in destination?
Mm-hmm.
Why not let's work on source areas?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's where the chunk of people come. So that's why we shifted. We took one state because it is just my organization is just 1.5 years old, and I am an activist for a long time. But then my organization is very young, and I'm the sole person running it. You know how NGOs work. You need a team and everything. So I've taken one state for now. Northeast India is very famous for trafficking. So I've taken Assam. ASSAM is the state in northeastern India where I'm focusing on.
Okay. And so you really go to the source and
Yeah,
try
yeah.
to do prevention. So have you met and worked with victims who are victims of, particularly you mentioned organ trafficking?
Yeah. Last year, I had rescued so many children who were termed as COVID positive and their organs were taken out. And the parents could not find it out. Because if they're COVID positive and they're dead, how the parents will touch the body?
Right.
So this was an alarming thing for us.
And so what type of organs are popular that people want to take and other people want to buy?
Uh, kidney,
Okay.
kidneys, their eyes.
Their kidneys or their eyes?
Yeah. Kidneys are primarily kidney.
Wow. Wow. And so when you talk about the the financial independence or the financial empowerment when you work with survivors. What kind of programming do you have available for that's focused on the economic kind of solutions?
So we have started something very new. So what we do is that we go to villages and do a baseline study to figure out what is possible in that particular village. For example, in one village you might be able to do pig farming, but in the other village you can't because it's more of a uh, like religious issue.
Okay.
So you might, and then there are climatic conditions. Somewhere you might be able to work in mushroom, somewhere mushroom cannot be the source of cultivation. Also, there are a lot of discrimination in terms of some people would like to do fish farming, some people won't. So what we do is that we try to do a baseline study to find it out what is feasible and available in the particular community and do it. I have like done a 1 month course of stitching, knitting, and weaving for girls, for 11 girls of who are survivors of trafficking, and we gave them a stitching machine, sewing machine, and a certificate, and 1 year of residency. So I don't keep the girls in a home because I don't have in a home. So there is a convent with whom I collaborated. So I pay for their food and accommodation, and the girls stay there. And then during the graduation, I pay for their sewing machine because for me it's very important that the girls stay in a very secured environment. They can't just stay anywhere. Their safety and security is primary. That is one thing. Second thing is that I want to break this whole stereotype of women doing only women work.
Mhm.
So maybe welding, maybe STEM, something related with science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, like something which is breaking the stereotype that women can do this. So there are a lot of things that women can do. So why not expose them to that? So that's still in the initial phase. We're still in the research phase. So still not executed properly. So that's one.
That's awesome. So not only like sewing machines and owning their own sewing machines and going into business, but welding, technology, math. I love all that as well. And so how do people get involved in the empowerment phase, in that kind of financial independence? How do they get selected?
So what we do is that we try to find out like we try to find out the poorest of the poor, like because what happens is that, and also the interest, we try to interview people, try to figure out their area of interest, and also we try to reach people those who are more vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have a process of interviewing them, talking with them, doing a home investigation to understand, because a lot of time what happens, people join and they just leave. You can't do that, right? You
Mm-hmm.
actually have to continue because there is a proper structure and all that. The program is still in the initial phase of research and development. So we try to find out, we talk to the local authorities, we do a lot of R&D before taking people.
Okay, so that you understand in your baseline study what the needs are. And I love that you're addressing poverty, because poverty is the core issue here. So where do you get your funding to be able to help these survivors to get involved in business or to purchase the sewing machines and those types of things?
To be very honest, I have no funding. What I do is that I am a consultant with multiple organizations. So whatever consultancy fees I have, uh, I get through that. I'm trying to do as much as I can. And then there are individual donors who help me, because in order to get funding in India, you need to have a lot of documentation and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the initial process of getting some documentation done, but still I don't have FCRA. And FCRA, it will take 3 years to get the FCRA done.
Yeah, sounds like me. I don't, the one thing I lack is patience. I don't want to sit around and wait for the proper funding and the
Same,
proper paperwork.
same issue.
Yeah.
I get I am very fast with my work, and I get so annoyed seeing that delay, and delay. Like, it's
Right.
like,
Yeah, we can't deal with the delays because there are real lives at stake here. And I agree. You have to just start going. Well,
yeah.
hopefully, I mean, is there a plan for you to collaborate and get yourself more stability in terms of funding? Is there a plan in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to get FCRA, but FCRA, it will take at least 3 years. So
Mhm.
I'm trying to get ATG and 12A for now. Let's hope. And the whole Indian process of uh, foreign donations has become very, very stringent and very, very strict now.
Okay.
So one has to be very, very careful with the entire process. So definitely would really be exploring that part.
Well, and Pallavi, what makes you tick? Why are you doing this with your own money and your own time? Like, why would you spend your time doing this?
So when I used to rescue girls from trafficking, they used to come out, and I was very young when I started. I started it when I was around 19, 20, when I started rescuing girls.
Mhm.
They used to come to me, they used to hug me, and they used to tell me that, like, you are like a mother who has given us a life. I tried being a professor in a college. I taught for 3 years, but trust me, I used to get nightmares thinking about those girls. I used to think that if I don't do, who will do? And that's more of, you can say, a passion. And I feel I can earn a lot of money if I go out there teaching in a college or a school or anything. But then that won't give me satisfaction. I have tried doing it part time. Part time, I used to rescue survivors of trafficking and used to teach full time in a college. But 3 years, I tell you, I gained 25 kilos. I was stressed out. My spouse was like, "No, you should go back. There's no point doing things like this where you are not getting any satisfaction."
Yeah.
So the, I don't know. There is a peaceful sleep I can get. I can't explain it in words. I think there is something different about it. I get a lot of peace. So that's how.
That makes so much sense to me. Well, let me go back because I don't get to hear a lot about organ trafficking and child marriage, not a lot. So I just want to go back and visit that and just get a little more information in how organ trafficking works. So can you tell us like how is recruitment done? Like how does the whole process work?
You know what happens in India? I'll tell you. It is out of record. Nobody tries to reveal it. What happens? A lot of children go missing. So
Mhm.
missing children are always counted in the category of missing children, and that's the reason the case becomes very like not serious. People don't tend to take it seriously. So most of the organ trafficking happens with children who go missing, who don't have families, who don't go for FIRs. So someone who doesn't have any background, someone who can be easily,
Mhm.
untraceable,
Mhm.
someone who will not be found out. So,
Mhm.
they are not recruited, they will be duped with a chocolate which will be drugged.
Do the children do they survive this experience if their kidney is taken, or what happens? Are they taken to a hospital and that kidney removed, or how does
I
that
have
work?
I have seen multiple cases of children after their kidneys are removed, they are put into begging mafia, begging, child begging.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they don't tend to leave the children outside because people can find out, right?
Hmm.
So they
And
keep the children along with them. So the children can beg. Like, for example, if the child doesn't have eyes, the child can get this much of amount. If the child doesn't have hand, the child can get this much of amount. If the child doesn't have legs, there are quotas. Like,
so they keep the kids and they make
yeah.
more
They keep the
money.
quota. But if you ask anyone in India, nobody will reveal it because there is no date showing that.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, wow. And so they just
Like
keep the kids.
yeah, it's a nexus. It's so alarming. What I see is that you know children are put into big vans and dropped in every red light area, and they are taught, like, there is a proper training center where they are taught how to cry, how to beg. Like, it's like a training school, and I'm surprised at the way this is being done for years and nobody intervenes.
Wow. And do they take the hands or the leg just so that they can evoke a little more sympathy and so people will give more money, or what's the point of taking the hands or a leg or an
More
arm?
money, more money. Because if you have all the organs in the body, people will not give you money. But if you have less organs in the body, people will give you money.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense, I guess. And so what about child marriage? How does that work in India?
Child marriage, huge. In order to get rid of teenage pregnancy, in order to get rid of not using condoms, they just get their children married because they think that if the children are get married, because in India or any other country, people have this ideology that marriage is a legal license for sex.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, India rampant. Rajasthan, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, huge number of child marriages, not just for girls, but for boys also. Huge, huge. During the pandemic, what happened? If one girl was getting married, they were making sure that five, six get married because they were not able to feed the girls. So, along with dropouts, also, there were huge number of trafficking happening.
Okay. So, and what age can does this happen? Is it legal in India?
No, in India it is 18 years for girls and 21 year for boys. I think they have increased the age of girls from 18, but 12, 13, 14 girls get married.
And
Or
how are they able to do this if it's illegal? Do they have people that they pay off to legally
yeah,
marry?
nobody reports. No, nobody reports.
Okay.
No reporting is done. And even if reporting is done, they will try to thrash the person, the law enforcement who is involved.
Okay. Wow. And so you mentioned just briefly COVID really impacted a lot of this. Can you talk about how COVID impacted organ trafficking or child trafficking or child marriage?
Uh, because in COVID, what happened? People lost their jobs. There was no source of income.
Mm.
So, and it was easy for people to dupe the other person saying that the person is COVID positive and the organs to taken out because nobody will touch the body. And in COVID, girls dropped out from schools.
Mm.
So, it was very easy to, tell the parents that the girl dropped out of school and no idea when the school will open, get your girl married.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, luring the parents, paying the parents. Also in trafficking, oh, your girl is not studying, send her with us. She's in the village. She will go to Delhi, earn a lot of money. So, see, this kind of things happened a lot.
Wow. Well, you have a lot of work to do and you're making a difference. I mean, I think it's wonderful. And so what is the next phase for Pallavi? What do you see happening in your life or with the foundation in the next maybe 3 to 5 years?
I actually want to make sure that I impact a lot of lives in the sense because because I have rescued more than 10,000 children in the last 10 years, if I can count it properly. But I want to make sure that even if I have now prevented 10,000 cases of trafficking, then those 10,000 should be placed properly.
You probably impacted about 10,000 lives over the course of your work. That's amazing. If somebody is interested in contacting you and maybe perhaps they have funding or they have ideas or they'd like to collaborate, how can they get a hold of you and what's the website for the foundation?
I will just share the website link with you and my email ID also. People, I would love it if people just reach out to me. Not in terms of funding, but in terms of any volunteering, any conversations, anything. It would be really a privilege.
Well, thank you so much, Pallavi, for all the work that you're doing and you've already done, and much success to you in the future. And we'll talk soon.
Yeah, surely.
That was Pallavi Ghosh from Impact Dialogue Foundation. And while she didn't say it, she is funding this project on her own. So financial support is critically important. So I will say it on behalf of her. If there's anybody out there that wants to make a difference, but you don't have the time and the energy and maybe even the knowledge to get involved as boots on the ground, she's already got the whole setup. She understands poverty and opportunity blocks people and creates the vulnerability and increases the risk. And so she's working on helping the people not only emotionally and mentally and trying to serve their basic needs. But she's also engaged in economic empowerment so that people are equipped and empowered so that they won't become vulnerable to these forms of trafficking. So if you're out there and you want to support a project that's genuine and authentic and already going, reach out to Pallavi and collaborate. If you don't have the financial means, there are other resources, I'm sure, that she could use that you could ship to her, that she could give out to people that she interacts with. I was particularly interested in her discussion about child marriage and COVID, but particularly about organ trafficking, because we don't get to hear a lot about organ trafficking and how it happens and who it happens to. And when she talked about children and kidneys and eyes, I know through my research that kidneys are the number one organ that is harvested and sold, particularly from third world countries to first world countries. And you think, well, who in first world countries would ever purchase a kidney on the black market or any organ? Well, I'll tell you who. Families that are very desperate because their loved one is on a waiting list and has been on a waiting list for several months, and they're becoming weaker, and there's a pending potential that they may not make it. These families begin to think about the potential to receive a kidney from somewhere else, another country. Maybe they're not even aware of how all this happens. They know it's illegal, but they're desperate. And so it's a supply and demand. Without a demand, there wouldn't be people out there taking people's kidneys. And that's the reality of human trafficking, and particularly organ trafficking. Until next time, the fight continues. Let's not just do something, let's do the best thing. If you like this episode of Emancipation Nation, please subscribe and I'll send you the weekly podcast. Until then, the fight continues.